Do you know when it comes to broiler farming, the saying, you use money to buy money is true? Even if someone gives you day-old broiler chicks for free, you still will need money for brooding, for feeding, and for medication in order to make money out of the day-old chicks you were given. Friends, broiler farming is a money-making machine. Making a profit of up to 80% or even 100% of your poultry production cost is not uncommon. This is what most farmers will never tell you. I always see these ventures as a well-planned and implemented garbage in and garbage out. This encompasses the breed of broiler you choose, the feed you feed them with, how and when you feed them, how and when you dispose your birds. They all play a very important role in making huge profit from your broiler farming. Broiler farming is a good business that can pay your bills, even raising as low as 100 birds per batch. It is also one of the ventures I have seen people lament that they put in so much and they lost everything. My response to them has always been that you don't hear people say there is money in a business and rush into it with almost zero knowledge about such ventures. You are positioned to fail if you do so. I know that can never happen to you because that is why you are watching this video right now, so that you can acquire knowledge for greater results. Every trade has some secrets that make it profitable at all times, and poultry production is not an exception. In this video, I'll be giving you all my secrets that I've been using in making huge profit from every batch of broiler I raise. When it comes to making money from broiler farming, there are some secrets you must know to remain adaptable and to be at the top of your game. So those secrets is what I'll be sharing with you today. Secret number 1, never borrow or take loan to start broiler farming. I know the temptation is there, especially when you hear a successful farmer sharing his experience. Do not be tempted to take loan. Start with what you have and stock what your money can cater for. It's always good to grow into it. Even if it's just 50 birds you can raise, you still will make good profit from it. One thing you need to know is that broiler farming or poultry farming in general is a game of number. That is, the more the number of birds you stock and well catered for, the more your profit will be. So my advice for you is to start small and then grow into it. So that being said, secret number 2, know your strains or breeds of broilers that can give you the maximum weight gain within the shortest time. This is very important. It's one of the secrets I normally use because it's not all broilers that can give you the weight you want within 5 weeks, because for some time now, I've been disposing my birds as 5 weeks, that is at the 35. Now, it's not every breed of broiler that can actually give you that 2.7, 2.8, 2.93 kg, 3.2 kg at 5 weeks that you see in my video. It's not every breed of broiler that can give you that. So go for the breed that can actually give you that by that 5 weeks, except you want to be disposing your birds at 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, as the case may be. But for mine, I dispose at 5 weeks. Now, know the strains or the breeds of broiler that can give you that maximum weight within the shortest time. Currently in the country today, we have 3 strains of broiler, 3 strains or breeds of broiler. That is the Cub 500, the Rostrio 8, and the Abo Acre Plus. These breeds are hatched and marketed by different hatcheries in the country. I would like to clear one notion here. I do hear people say that they stock Agrited, they stock Vates, they stock Fidan, they stock Zatek. These names are some of the hatchery that produce these breeds. Like the Agrited is the hatchery that hatch and produce Rostrio 8. Vates produces Abo Acre Plus, while Zatek produces Cub 500. These breeds of broilers are all good from my experience. From my experience too, there are some that are good for 5 or 6 weeks game, while some are good for 7 or 8 weeks game. Though almost all the strains are gaining improvement. Like me that loves the 5 weeks game, I stick to Cub 500 and Rostrio 8. This is because at 5 weeks, their growth is really massive. After 6 weeks, they consume more feed and convert less of that feed to flesh. So this is not what every farmer wants. So choose your breed based on your preference and ensure you stock quality day-old chicks from a reputable hatchery with good track record of weight gain and uniformity, making use of good vendor. This is very, very important. So I've also heard some people lament that the vendor they use, they swap their day-old chicks and all of that. No, you need to move to another vendor. If such things happen to you, choose another vendor to be supplying you your day-old chicks. Now, secret number 3. Choose the right brand of feed for your broilers. This is very, very important because as the saying goes, you are what you eat. Now, you could stock quality day-old chicks. If if the feed you feed them with is very poor, you are bound to have a poor result. So go for quality feed in feeding your day-old chicks. Having chosen quality day-old chicks, you need to choose a very good brand of feed for your broilers. Remember, at the beginning of this video, I made a quote. It takes money to buy money, right? This is the main area of your broiler production where it applies. Do not compromise on qualities when it comes to feed for your broilers. This is because it is what you give them, they give you. That is garbage in, garbage out. It is what you give them that they give you eventually. No magic. This is where the saying, it is what you sow, you reap. This is where it applies. You could store quality day-old chicks, like I said, from a hatchery with good track record, employ good management practices. If your feed is poor, your result will be disappointing. I can tell you that. This has happened to me a few years ago before I switched to the feed I'm now using. I was almost begging my buyers to buy my best, even at 7 weeks. Can you imagine that? At the end, I incur some losses. There are feed I will say that are not meant for broiler production. Don't use them. Always use professional feed if you want superb results within the shortest time. Achieving 3 kg in 35 days is achievable. Just make use of professional feed in feeding your broilers. Secret number 4. Feed your birds at libitum from day one. By libitum, I simply mean feed your birds 247. Feed your bird 24 hours a day. This means from day one, you need to make provision for lighting so that the chicks can see the feeder and the drinker to be eating and drinking from. This is very important. During this period also, especially during brooding, ensure you don't practice dump feeding. What do I mean by dump feeding? Don't just pack feed in the tray feeder or the chicks feeder and then go and rest until maybe after 6 hours or 8 hours before coming to check on your chicks. No. Feed them in bits until they are about 3 weeks old. They always rush down to come and eat as far as they see that the feed is fresh. So that is why you should feed them a bit. And it will be very, very helpful because you will see the result in your broiler. And also ensure clean water is available to them at all times. This is also very important because you could feed them with quality feed, stock quality day-old chicks, employ good management practices. If your water quality is poor, this does not mean you should be treating your water before giving to your birds. No. Ensure the source you get your water for them is clean. If it's borehole water you are giving them, ensure you can drink from the borehole water before you can give it to your birds. Because what I always say, any water you cannot drink, do not give to your birds. Any water you know you cannot drink, do not give them. It's very, very important. It's one of the laws that we obey. So if you give them water that is not potable, you are sure to have a very bad result. This is very, very important. Just as quality feed is important to the growth, so is clean water. If denied, their growth will be inhibited. That is, the result you will see will not be interesting to you. Now, secret number 5. Know when to switch feed from starter to finisher. This is very important. When it comes to raising broilers, there are mainly 2 types of feed that are normally given to broilers right from day one. That is the starter feed, the starter or the super starter feed, and the finisher feed. In some country, they have the starter, the grower, and the finisher feed. But in my country, as of today, We only have the starter feed, the starter or the super starter feed, and the finisher feed. Giving each of these feed at the wrong time can impact negatively on your output. This is also very, very important. Now, you start your chicks with starter or super starter feed from day 1, and then switch to finisher feed as from day 28. That is, as from day 28, day 29. When I want to switch to finisher, I normally start it gradually from day 26, so that by day 29, they will be on the finisher feeds fully. I introduce 25% of the finisher feed at day 26, then 50% of the finisher feed at day 27, then 75% of that new feed or the finisher feed at day 28, and 100% at day 29. Now, you can also use this method in changing to another brand of feed, because they are already used to one form of feed already. Now, to introduce another feed, it may take them a while, though broilers are eaters, so it will take them a while to get used to the new feed. Now, in order to avoid that time that they won't want to eat properly, so you need to use this method to switch your feed from the old feed to the new feed, or from the super starter feed to the finisher feed. This is how to switch feed properly. Now, secret number 6. Know how much you need to invest per bed. This is very important. You don't just hear people, oh, there is money in broiler farming. Okay, I have 500,000, so let me just put in and then see what I will get. No, you need to do your homework. This is where you need to know how much to invest per bed. That is, how much will it take you to raise one bed to maturity, to 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, as the case may be. So know how much you need to invest per bed at disposal. Now, as a broiler farmer, always have the following numbers at the back of your mind. As a broiler farmer, you need to know at week 1, your best, each of your chick is going to consume 0.167 kilogram for that first 7 days. Now, for the next 7 days, which is till day 8 till day 14, each one chick is going to consume 0.375 kg. Then by week 3, it will consume 0.65 kg. By week 4, 0.93 kg. By week 5, 1.2 kg. By week 6, 1.4 kg. Now, you need to know, okay, if each chick is consuming this, now if I want to raise 100 birds, how many kilogram am I expected to use in feeding these birds? These numbers are very, very important. As a farmer, you need to know them. These are the quantity of feeds, like I said, a broiler chick will consume per week. Whenever I think of this number, I always add some grams, like the 0.167 kilogram. I always add few grams to it, maybe to like 0.175 kilogram, as the case may be. Because the environment, the researcher carry out this research to arrive at these numbers, it might not be the same with my environment. So I add some grams to it, so that somehow I will still achieve my result that I aimed at. If, for instance, I am raising my best to 5 weeks, a chick will be consuming, okay, like the example I gave, assuming I want to raise my best till 5 weeks at disposal, which I normally do. One chick will be consuming 3.32 kilogram of feed. That is, for those 5 weeks, one chick is going to consume 3.32 kilogram. I normally add a little to it, like I said, say maybe like this 3.32 kilogram. Now I approximate it to 3.5 kilogram. If I am buying a professional feed at the rate of 25,000 naira per 25 kg of feed, that means I will be spending 1,000 naira per kg of feed. Meaning at 35 days, which is week 5, I must have spent 3,500 naira per bed on feed alone. This figure multiplied by the number of birds I want to raise has already given me an idea on how much to budget for feed. I don't know if it is clear. You need this to have an idea. Okay, for feeding, I'll need 500,000 to feed these birds. I'll be needing 300,000 to feed these birds. I'll be needing this to feed these birds. It's very important. It's not when at the middle, you no longer have money to continue again, and then you'll be rushing up and down to borrow money for to feed them, because most people will never give you, even the very, very close friends that you have, they will never give you that money. So stock your birds based on what you have an idea. These resources that I have, how many birds can it raise for me till 5 weeks, till 6 weeks, till 7 weeks, till 8 weeks, and then plan based on what you have. This is very important. Now, secret number 7, you need to know your cost of production. It will be unwise to keep spending on feed, spending on medication, transportation, phone calls, etc., without taking note of them as it relates to your broiler farming. At the end, how will you know how much to sell your birds? This is very important. This is where your record keeping comes in handy. You need to record every expense, as this will help you to determine your cost of production. To determine your cost of production, you need to answer the following question to be able to have a good cost of production. In our case, let's assume we want to raise 100 birds to day 35, that is 5 weeks. How much are we buying day old chicks? Because the birds will not be given to you free. You need to know how much are you buying one day old chicks. Now, if we are buying 100, how much is it going to be? You need to provide answer for this. Now, as at the time of recording this video, a day old chicks is being sold at the rate of 650 naira. This means we will be spending 65,000 naira per 100 chicks that we want to raise. Now, the second question is this: how much are we using to transport them to our pickup station, the point where we'll be picking up the day old chicks in our state? But even if you are within the state where the hatchery is, how much are you going to spend to the hatchery to pick up the chicks and all of that? So you need to have a record of that. Now, as at the time of recording this video, it is 4,000 naira per carton to transport it from the state where the hatchery is to our pickup point. They charge 4,000 naira per carton, and each carton contains 51 day old chicks. So this means it will cost us 8,000 naira to transport our chicks to where we'll be picking it up in our state. So the third question is, how much are we going to spend in picking up those chicks from our pickup station to our farm? Let's assume 4,000 naira, depending on proximity to your farm, depending on how close that your pickup station is to your farm. Now, the next question is, how much are we spending on feed? This is very important because this takes up to 70-75% of your total production cost. Feed is very, very important. So how much are we going to spend on feed to raise this 100 birds till day 35? Now, remember there was a number I gave, 3.5 kilogram of feed. This is what each bird is going to consume till that day 35. By that day 35, each bird is going to consume 3.5 kilogram of feed. Now, we need to multiply this 3.5 kilogram of feed by the number of birds we are raising. In this case, we are raising 100 birds. Now, when you buy your day-old chicks, they always place extra chick inside one carton to make 51. So in this our case, we'll be having, assuming there is no mortality due to transportation and all of that, we'll be having 102 birds. Now, 102 multiplied by 3.5 kg that each chick is going to consume by day 35, we'll be having 357 kilogram of feed. We'll need to raise these birds till that day 35. Now, in our country today, the weight of one bag of feed is 25 kilogram. So when we divide this 357 kilogram of feed by 25 kg, what we'll have will be about 14.28 bags of feed. Now we approximate this to 15 bags of feed. By that day 35, we'll be needing 15 bags of feed to raise our birds till day 35. I don't know this calculation is clear, but it's just a little mathematics. Remember, we for one bird we'll be needing 3.5 kilogram to raise it to day 35. So for 100 bird or for 102 birds, we'll be multiplying that by 102 to give us 357 kilogram of feed. And 357 kilogram of feed, when we divide by 25, because a bag of feed is 25 kg in our country today, that will give us 14.28 bags. But we need to approximate this. Now, approximating this, we don't need to approximate it to 14. We always go a little higher. So that gives us 15 bags. Remember, we multiply by 102 because they will always add one extra chick per carton, making 51. So we need 15 bags to raise our birds till day 35, which is week 5. Now, if a bag of professional feed is being sold for 25,000, there are some that are being sold for maybe 26, as the case may be, some a little lower than this, but I just peg my price at 25,000 per bag. Now, we'll be needing 375,000 naira for feed alone. Okay. Now, the next question will be, how much are we spending on transporting the feed to our farm? Because when you buy, they won't transport it for you free. Or should you have your own car, definitely you buy some fuel to pick them up and then take to your farm. How much are we spending on transportation, on transporting the feed to our farm? Let's say let's assume 400 naira. This also depends on proximity to your farm as well. Let's say 400 naira per bag of feed. Now, depending on proximity to your farm, like I said, this amount to 6,000 naira for those 15 bags of feed that we'll be needing for our birds. Now, I always say, even if you are to use your own car to pick them up, you need to pay yourself. You need to add that amount here as part of your cost of production. Now, the next question will be, how much are we spending on medication and vaccine? How much are we spending on it? Now, to really get a good idea of how much to spend on medication and vaccination, we take 10% of our feed cost. 10% of our feed cost is going to give us how much we should spend on our medication and vaccine. Now, 10% of our 375,000 naira, which is the amount we'll be spending on feed, that gives us 37,500, but we are approximate to 37,000 naira. Now, the next question is, are we paying someone to raise these birds for us? Now, even if your answer is no, you need to pay yourself, because this will be part of your cost of production. We assume that for those 5 weeks, we assume 30,000. This could be lesser, this could be higher, depending on your location. So, but in our case, we assume 30,000 that will be paying whoever will be taking care of the birds for us. Now, even if we are taking care of it ourselves, we pay ourselves that 30,000 naira for these 5 weeks. Now, the next question to answer so that you have a proper cost of production is, how much are we spending to disinfect our pen before stocking? Because you don't just sweep there and then stock your day-old chicks. No. So there are some of my video in my channel to show you how to disinfect a brooder before stocking your day-old chicks. Because if you don't do that, you are planning to fail. So how much do you use to buy those disinfectants and all of that? Now, in our case, we assume a low-cost disinfectant like hypo, bleach, high concentration of hypo or bleach, as well as detergent, using it to wash the whole place before stocking our day-old chicks. Now, our assumption is 8,000 naira. Now, this could be a little higher. This could be lesser, depending on your location, like I said. Now, you could go for a higher quality disinfectant, but it will still give you a very good result. Now, the next question to answer so that you have a proper cost of production is, how much are we spending on heating? Because when those chicks, when they come, you don't just put them there, start feeding them and all of that and leave them, because otherwise they will die of cold. So you need to provide the heat for them to keep them warm. How much are you spending on that heating? Are you going to be making use of charcoal? Are you going to be making use of gas? Are you going to be making use of electricity? So you need to make provision for this. You need to account for this. Now, accounting for this, I assume I want to make use of gas brooder because that's what I use. For 12.5 kg cylinder, it's about 15,000 naira as at the time of recording this video in my location. So we assume 20,000 because some things could change. So you don't want a situation, oh, I thought this is the amount I budgeted for this, but at the end you have a higher price. So we assume 20,000 naira for brooding, for the production of heat for brooding. Now, the next question to also ask is, how much are we spending on water? The water is not free. Even if it's free, you still need some electricity to pump it out. So how much are you spending on that electricity? So you need to account for that. In my case, I assume I'm using a generator to pump them for those 5 weeks. I assume 2,000 naira. Now, the next question is, how much do you spend on in making phone calls? Because at times you may need to call the feed seller. Do you have fees? Because you don't want a situation where you drive to the feed seller, at the end they don't have, then you move to other locations. So there will be definitely be need to make some calls during this whole course of your broiler production. Now, at times you also need to call the transporter of your day old chicks. Where are you? When can I come? So those are not free. So you need to account for all those costs. Now, in our case, for those 5 weeks, which is 35 days, we assume 1,000 naira for those 5 days. Again, this could be more. Again, this could be lesser. The next question you need to ask yourself also is, how much are you spending on bedding materials? That is the litter materials. Are you going to be making use of sawdust or wood shave or rice hull, as the case may be? In our case, we are making use of sawdust. In most cases, sawdust is free, but transporting it to your farm is not free. And if you are making use of your vehicle, as the case may be, like I always say, you need to pay yourself. Now, if you are paying someone to bring it to your farm, you need to pay him. So you need to account for this. In our case, we assume 3,000 naira. This also depends on proximity to your farm. Now, the next question to ask so that you have a proper cost of production is, how much do you spend on brooding paper? Because you are going to cover the bedding materials with newspaper or some brooding paper so that the chicks do not have access to that sawdust for the first 3-4 days. This is very important. So how much are you spending on it? Are you going to be getting it free, or is somebody going to be selling it to you at a low cost? So you need to account for this. In our case, what we assume is 3,000 naira for those newspaper or brooding material, carton, as the case may be. There are times you may not remember some things to account for. So that's where miscellaneous come in. So we take our miscellaneous to be 5,000 in case we forgot some things that we needed to do and now there is no money for that. So we base that at 5,000 for this 100 beds that we are raising. Now this brings us to about 565,000 naira to raise this 100 beds to 5 weeks. This means we spend about 5,600 naira to raise one chick to the 35, which is 5 weeks. I don't know if you understand how we got this 565,000 naira. Now we add up all those expenses by answering those questions I've been asking. We add them up. It gave us a total of 565,000 to raise 102 bed. Now, assuming we did not have mortality, which is somehow impossible. At times you may have few, maybe 3 beds and all of that, but our assumption is that zero mortality, which is impossible in most cases. But we divide that by the number of beds we are raising, we arrive at 5,600 naira as our production cost to raise our beds till 5 weeks. Assuming you do your job well and have a very good uniformity, say maybe 70% of them hitting 2.7 to 3 kg by the 35, my dear, you are already smiling to the bank. This is very, very important. You are already smiling to the bank. This is very good. So this is how to calculate your cost of production. In our case now, we'll be needing 5,600 naira to raise one bed till the 35. Now, this is the secret most farmers, many of them will never tell you. I don't think you've ever seen a video like this on YouTube telling you this is how much I spend per bed, but that's not like me. I'll give it out. If it's useful for you, go ahead and make use of it. Now, secret number 8 that you need to know so that you make a very good profit from your poultry business. Now, you need to know the business aspect of your poultry ventures. This is very important because it is one thing to raise your birds to maturity. It's another thing to be able to sell them off in no time. Nothing is as frustrating as not having buyers for your birds. I've been there. Do you know that for every other day that your birds stay in your farm, when you are supposed to sell them off and you are already eating into your profit? This is because you still need feed to feed them. If you are disposing at week 5, If you don't already have existing customer, start marketing as from week 3, starting with the contact in your phone. It won't be out of place if you place a short video of your bears in your WhatsApp updates for your WhatsApp contact to see how massive your bears are. And when bargaining with your customers, especially those buying in bulk, ensure you sort your bears and assign different price tag. This is very important, because if you allow them to just select the best they want to buy, at the end you'll be at a loss. If the profit margin is okay, it must not be 100% of your production cost. Go ahead and dispose your best. This, in my opinion, is business sense. As every other day the best spends in your farm, your profit is already going down. As the market women will never buy 6 weeks old bird different from the amount they will pay for 5 weeks old. Secret number 9, treat your customers right and grow your customers base. No farmer wants to have just a one-time buyer. It is a thing of joy if your customers come to buy from you again and again. Relating with them professionally and treating them with respect is a way to achieve this. Without them, you will only be raising best for your family consumption. No wonder they say customers are kings. If there is any need to disagree, kindly disagree politely. This is very important to keep them coming. May God bless the work of our hands. Secret number 10, which is our final secret, have expansion plan. This is very important. Now that the profit starts coming, what do you do with it? Should you just start buying whatever you like, what you need and what you don't need? It is a business sense to set aside some percentage of your profit for future expansion. This is very important in any profit-making business, and broiler business is not an exception. If you could make 60% profit from your broiler, from 100 broilers, what will your profit be like when you raise 300, 400, 500 broilers? Or if the prices of day-old chicks or feed increases, will you stay away from the business until the prices go down? So these are some of the reasons why you should set aside some percentage of your profit for future expansion. I know any man that labors should also enjoy the fruit of his hands, but reserve some for expansion. This is just my advice though. I know the video has been so long. Hope you gain a lot. If you find this video helpful, as a way to say thank you, kindly do well to hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notification icon. In this case, you will be the first to see any new video we upload and help us to reach a larger audience. As always, thanks.